it the best that they could for us. At the time, you don't realize you're living like that. When you look back, you're like, I mean, I look back on, I all the time tell my mom, thank you. I don't know how you did it. You had 5 children. My father, my aunt lived with us eventually. And it's just, to me, it literally helped build who I am. It helped me be resilient. It's helped me work hard. I learned so much work ethic from survival. You know, I think that as a child, it's not something that I would instill in my children, right? I would do it a little differently, but not in the sense of what my mom taught us, but how we grew up. It was just there's a lot of violence in my house. There was a lot of different things going on there. And where I'm at now in my life, I'm fully, you know, in my healing journey and in helping other people heal and understand how to embrace that inner child that was hurt, that inner child that felt pain. You know, we don't talk about these things because mental health isn't really in the forefront, even though little by little it's starting to become a real conversation. But it was, it's, you don't realize what you're in when you're living in it. Now that I look back, it's, you know, I'm like, wow, like, I'm just grateful that we got out, we survived. I'm here telling you my story. And I'm so grateful that I survived, because without my hardships, I wouldn't be here to tell you. And I think some people run away from their hardships and their stories because, you know, sometimes family, you know, they don't want you to talk about it. It becomes an embarrassing topic. But I believe that it's your story to tell, and you should, because you don't know who you might be helping, how actually it's therapy talking about it, to be honest with you. And so now, you know, after going through those things, you know, it's molded me on who I am now. It's given me incredible work ethic. It's given me incredible chances to always kind of give myself and know that there's a second chance at life. Like, it doesn't stop. If you haven't attained your goals, you still can. If there are certain things you wanted to do, you still can. You know, through hardships, nobody gave me anything. I didn't have investors, a sugar daddy. We sure as hell didn't have OnlyFans back then, okay?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and I ain't even mad at my girls getting their bread on there. Listen, do you know? But we didn't have all those resources. So for me, it was a little different. I really had to get out the mud on my own. I didn't have a man do it for me. I didn't have anything. So I'm very proud of that. And that's not to knock anyone that does it differently, but that's my story. And so it's great. I mean, I look at my hardships very differently than other people do. I often have these debates with my family because they don't like to talk about it, you know, and I'm like, you can't act like everything was perfect growing up. It wasn't. Like, it built who you are. Who cares? Don't be ashamed, you know, but it's a personal thing. I understand how for some people it's a little difficult to discuss, but I always tell people, it's your story. It's your story, and your story should be told. It might help somebody. You know, you ever sometimes talking about certain things you're going through with your girls, and then they understand because they're like, oh, girl, I just went through that like a couple of months ago. And sometimes you can start some dialogue. Maybe that might help you with advice. That's why I like to share my story, because you never know how we can help each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so real. So what was the breakthrough? Because obviously going through so much trauma at an early age, you know, it can have a lot of lifelong effects. But for yourself, you've come and you've got to such an amazing place in your life. What would you say, when you were young, what was the breakthrough? Where was the spanner put in that kind of changed your environment and started, let's say, on the rise, essentially?
Sure. Well, I was always driven. I was always driven. My mom said that when I was like 7 years old, well, when I was apparently turning 3, I used to do little concerts for my family and charge them tickets, like a quarter or something. So I think that was always a part of me. And my teachers used to tell my mom, like, she's going to be like a boss, like an entrepreneur somehow. And I guess that was something that I'm grateful my mom instilled in me. And interestingly enough, We used to clean houses. We were maids. And I used to clean the brass, and I was really good at it. We used to clean these for these huge mansions. We would ride 3 buses in the rain, you know, and we would leave at like 4 in the morning just to get there by like 8. And like I learned the grind really early on. And so my mom would give me $1 to clean the brass. So I learned, you know, that you have to work. Although it wasn't really a job, I think she was just trying to teach us things, you know? And so a part of that, going back to how you learn things, you know, and they mold who you are. And that's part of what's molded me who I am now. However, that was now, it didn't really kind of give me that like breakthrough where I'm like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. It took a lot of traumatic events. A lot, not 1, 2, or 3. Not when I flatlined because my son, who is now deceased, he was murdered. His father, you know, the baby's father, he beat me to a point that I lost pretty much all my teeth. I have half of my face is paralyzed, and this isn't so anyone can feel bad. I just want you to know, like, you can come out of this. You know, some of my face is paralyzed still. I get nerve regeneration treatments on it. And he beat me to where I passed away. And somebody found me and I was resuscitated. That was a piece of a breakthrough. But that breakthrough was, I don't ever want to date anyone, whether it's a man or woman, that isn't showing me the love that I know that I deserve. Because I know I was a good person. That was a small piece of where I started to be like, nah, I can't be this way. And because I saw violence in my home because of my father has been battling alcohol demons for many years, and he's still trying, and he found God, thank goodness. Finally, it's something that's helping him. But I didn't want to repeat that pattern. You have to remember how our generational traumas come down from my mom's mom, her mom. So I could have easily continued that if I had stayed there with that man, but I didn't. And I said, that's it. I am going to go somewhere else in life. Don't know exactly where it's at. I always knew I wanted to be a performer, some sort of a boss in some way. I just didn't exactly know how to pinpoint it, because when I don't have resources, I didn't have any resources. And 2, because there was really no one there for emotional support for me. You know, I left my home when I was turning 10 years old. I ran away and I never came back. The only reason why I came back is because I was forced to come back, you know, by the police. I didn't even want to be in my own home. I just knew that I had to build my own life and figure myself out and literally become independent. And at the time, I didn't realize how traumatizing it was, because it was very traumatizing. It's like I left my home from one trauma to another, but it built who I am. Like, ain't nothing anybody could tell me that's gonna in any way like stop my grind or my shine. I don't care what anybody says about me. Like, there's nothing anyone can do or say about me that I haven't already been through. I don't hurt it all. Like, what else you got for me? Life has already kind of thrown me in a spin cycle. So a little piece of that, and then living on my own, having jobs, you know, all kinds of jobs. And I've done everything in my career before it finally realized for me. But it was truly my inner strength that I had to and was forced to build. Like, I was forced to become a machine. And then now that I acknowledge that that's not really a way to live, I've healed that part of me. And now I embrace my inner child and I let them know it's okay. That was what I had to go through to be who I am today. And the person I am today is much better off because I understand that. And I no longer have to be that way. I no longer have to always be this workhorse in this survival mode. Yes, we have to definitely always defend ourselves in many, many ways. But it's different how it started and where I'm at now. You know, we're kind of always told, like, you know, being a hustler, like the female hustler, as females, you know, we got to go extra hard times 20 just to gain even an ounce of respect.
Yeah, it's true.
But you know what? I don't care. As long as me and my girls and the people I'm with are good, doesn't matter what anyone says. Because I know that my efforts and my story, that's right. That's right. I know that my efforts and my story, and I made it, is pertaining to my story. Just like it is completely, you know, subjective to whatever it means to you. And so I don't really follow the rules. and that's a blessing, and I wouldn't say a curse, but it's definitely a little bit of an obstacle, you know. But it's been great for me. And again, part of my healing journey has made me look back at all of those things that built me. And it was such a time that it was very hurtful. And now I've transmuted this pain into power, into acknowledging those things, into I would never do that again. You know, how to care better for my nieces and nephews, how to be more caring towards my friends and family, towards people in general. And it's just a really great place that I'm at, you know. And I just hope that, you know, anyone that listens to my story just knows, like you got this. Like nothing except for yourself can stop you from shining in whatever light that is. Whether you want to be a dope, you know, high grade, you know, a college student, you know, you want to graduate with the highest of honors, you want to be a great wife or husband, you know, you want to get that promotion. That's your story. Go hard for yours. You know, no one can stop you. Ain't nothing anybody could say could curse my journey.
I love that. That is so real. So when it comes to your career, because obviously you started off, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were into music. You wanted to be a musician. You are a musician as well. So how did that start off? When did you first get into the studio?
Well, I was a non-professional artist and performer when I was 3 years old, selling them tickets, singing happy birthday to my family. Give me some coins, okay? Because someday I'm going to be in an arena. So when I first started, I used to sing in chorus in school, and I also used to play the violin. Some people know, some people don't. I still play the violin. But I started I always admired these Spanish artists, and one of my cousins who used to play the keyboard and sing at all of our parties, and he would let us like sing on the microphone, and we just thought we were like in our own concerts, and it was just such a cute, beautiful memory that I have as a child, you know. And I didn't professionally do it until I found a person that wanted to record me. And we just started working together, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was very like, oh my God, what is this? You know, and I opened up my MySpace page, which is what helped launch my career. Although prior to that, I was actively working in commercials and movies. My MySpace is what really helps me. So through there, I started to meet producers, and that's really when I was able to get into the studio professionally. But I always knew I wanted to be a performer in some way. I guess since I was a child, I just didn't realize that's what it was. Again, you don't have resources or people, you know, recording in studios at the time. I didn't even know what any of that was until later on as an adult.
And when you got into the recording studios and you made that track, what was that feeling like for you? Would you say it was quite therapeutic? Was music your release?
It was, because it's interesting how music has evolved throughout the years and how my music has evolved. And I've always been the type of person that likes to experiment. So I've experimented with like every kind of genre, some that didn't really work out for me, as far as like I just didn't really see myself. My passion didn't really attach to it, but I needed to try it, you know? And it was definitely always therapy for me, but I just didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. I didn't know how to feel. It was more so like, oh my God, that's me. That's me. You know? But I would say the first time it really hit me was my first performance. My first performance off the MySpace tours when I performed with Digital Underground and Black Sheep. Rest in peace to G-Shock. We got to share a stage with my old producers, and I didn't feel scared at all. Like, nobody believed that I had never performed before. And we performed in, I mean, obviously, you know, Digital Underground has like this massive following. There were hundreds of people there, but I just felt so comfortable. And also when you are first starting in like performing, you're either very, very comfortable, or everybody gets butterflies before they hit the stage, and they usually just go away. Like once you see the people and they're rocking with you, you're like, yeah, I'm here, you know? But I just was like, I've always been just a, you know, a all-in person. So I had such a great time. You know, it was just such a like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. Like, I just love the arts. That's the thing. I love creating. Like when I work on my brand, I love creating. That's my thing. I'm like such an artist in that way. You know, I love, you know, creating and remodeling things in my, you know, business, in my home, you know, DIY projects, myself, music. So it was, I think that was one of the moments where I was like, oh my God, wow, this is for you. This is for you.
So I have to ask, because this is one of the things I've always wondered, is how you transitioned from musician, artist to reality TV star, because I know that the transition, it can be a bit crazy, and you're definitely one of Love and Hip Hop's alumni for sure, one of the most prominent people for sure. So how did that even come about, and was that something that you always kind of wanted to do at that
Actually,
time?
I never wanted to do reality TV at all. So what happened is that at the time I was the #1 artist on MySpace that was offered multiple multi-million-dollar record deals. Everybody knows this because it was, when I turned them down, it was like a big, but I didn't have a team. I didn't have anyone. It was just me. It would have been a disaster, I believe. I am positive. My heart tells me that. What happened is that I was very popular. So I was already in the television circuit. So interestingly enough, right before that happened, I had filmed a commercial with Robbie Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. So Robbie, I went to go live in London. I used to live in the House of Parliament area.
Oh, wow.
Like
okay.
right on the river, those high rises.
Yeah.
That's where I was. That's where they put me.
How did you find it, being over here?
So I miss London so bad. I miss all the UK. Oh my God, yes.
How long did you live here for?
I'm sorry?
How long did you live here for?
Oh, so I lived there for 6 months, and then I was back and forth for like 3-4 months. And then many months after that, because I have friends out there. My best friend lives out there still.
Nice.
So yeah, so it was, that helped me kind of even more, because Robbie Williams is huge, you know, especially at one time he was really big and then very controversial at one point. So he it's like everything I was doing was helping me rise more in the acting world. So what happened is, around that time I went to New York because I was trying to find producers that made the type of music that I wanted to make. So I went to New York, and around, I don't know, I just got there, and one of my producers now from Love and Hip Hop had contacted me, and the network contacted me through my MySpace, and they were like, hey, so we have this hip hop show, we'd like for you to come audition for it, have a meeting with us, you know. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I don't know what do you have to lose, you know what I mean? So I went there, and I met, you know, all the producers, and I told them my story. They're like, so why are you in New York? And I'm like, well, I can't find any producers that are doing the type of music I want to do in California. You know, I had this idea of doing like Spanglish rap, This is way before Pitbull was big, before, you know, they were doing this like Spanish English trap rap. Like I just had all these ideas of it. I just couldn't find anyone to do it. And everyone's like, you should go to New York, Miami, or New Jersey. And I told them all of that. And they were like, well, we have a show that we're doing. We think you might be good for it. Would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah, but where am I going to live? I don't live here. And so basically that was it. Like the next day I got the call, I got offered the contract, and then I became the star of Love and Hip Hop. And then you guys got to see my real story. I had just got to New York. I asked my producer, like, hey, I just got this show. Like, you know, can I stay in your couch, on your studio, whatever? And then so everything you saw on the show was happening in real time.
Oh, wow.
So I slept in a studio. Again, I never been too good to work hard or grind. You know, I didn't have it easy. I don't have a baby daddy that's famous. You know, I don't have, you know, again, the guy, usually men that help women, you know, or women that are attached to famous rappers, or, you know, were basically a part of what this show was about. I was the only person that was the only independent artist, and it's because they knew of my MySpace. But